Go touch grass is a popular thought terminating cliche that I think might have some validity behind it. So, even though it's a great way how to shut down an opponent who has clearly bested you in an argument on how the market actually needs short selling, or someone let you know that your 4 hours of research on a crypto that only eight people actually care about is probably not worth it, or you ratioed four people that you don't like on Twitter in one day and someone noticed a pattern and they told you to touch grass. Or maybe you're on the other side of that. You told someone to touch grass after your 30th comment fighting against them. Well, maybe we should look into that a little bit more. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I think are useful and cut down on some of the BS associated with the whole go touch grass, go outside and you won't be a loser anymore mentality. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. Fortunately, there is a good amount of evidence that I was able to find. Hmm. Starting to think it might be a little bit more complicated than this. Damn. So this is the cognitive benefits of interacting with nature in the Psychological Sciences Journal. I have a little section highlighted at the bottom. However, we can check out the abstract, and it's mostly focusing on attention restoration theory and how going outside will give you a little bit more ability to regroup and recuperate than other just calming activities. So nature may be more peaceful than other environments, thereby restoring directed attention abilities. However, in experiment two, environments were equally peaceful, yet only the ones viewing pictures of nature produce cognitive improvements. So to me, this kind of indicates that there is something in addition to other calming things that nature is playing a part in, and I thought that was pretty cool. There's a much bigger study here, and it was Japanese researchers who kind of saw all of the, you know, anecdotes and empirical evidence on, nature being good. However, they wanted to get some more actual hard data on it. So they went through and reviewed other articles and found that there was a large amount of improvements across the board. And I think one of the most valuable things is of all of the different activities that you can do, you can go to therapy, you can join a social group, you can do a number of other things, but they all kind of carry some other cost or some other risk. Therapy is expensive. Joining a social group is hard because what if you embarrass yourself? What if you don't like anyone there? It can feel like a loss. Whereas if you just go outside and go for a walk and experience nature, you don't really have much to lose. And I think that's one of the big benefits of it. So we'll go down to one of the sections that I really liked and is probably relevant to a lot more people than other sections, and that was the urban green space. So the effects of the urban green space are starting to get more attention just as people are realizing how toxic a lot of our, urbanization and concrete jungle and dead, uninteresting suburbs are. So urban gardening had been getting some of that attention. I think the data that they had was kind of iffy, because they're talking about people in a kiwi fruit garden just appreciating the view for 10 minutes. I've done lots of gardening myself this year, and I can tell you that watching someone gardening would probably be a lot more entertaining than hurting your back picking weeds, even though I probably feel better after doing it than before. It's definitely not all rosy, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. There is a sense of satisfaction with doing a good job and that sort of thing. So I do think it's valuable, and I'm definitely glad that I'm doing it. But you have to not really look at it from the point of just like, oh, gardening is going to be easy. It's a lot of work, and the garden that I'm at has pretty high turnover. There's a 2-year waiting list to get in, but I think about 10 to 15% of the people that had plots there last year just quit because it was too much work for them. So I would like to say that it's all easy and that you can just start gardening and it will make everything easier. Fortunately, that's not necessary. There's a lot of benefits with nature that are a lot more arm's length than that. There's another study here that goes over people in a hospital that were trying to recover from surgery, and people who were more exposed to the trees and the nature surrounding the hospital actually had shorter stays. So it was very consistent in the very short term, a day or two, but once you got closer to a week, the tree group actually had shorter stays on average than the people that were just near a brick wall. So it's interesting because I think there might be two things at play, not just the patients feeling better, but if there's people who are working in certain areas, let's say there's a nurse that's always in the nature area and there's another nurse that's always in the brick wall area, it makes me think some of that natural light and nature might be having an employee relation, and that might get trickled down to the people in care. Either way, it's good evidence that there is some sort of impact that the nature is having an influence on the people's care. Telling people to touch grass is definitely fun and maybe an argument ender, not in the good way. It's more like a thought terminating cliche, but we'll say you won the argument if you tell them to touch grass and they go on a diatribe about how, I actually went and bought groceries 3 days ago, and, that totally counts as going outside and interacting with people. But I digress. I'd like to see more people my age going to these urban green spaces, getting a garden plot, stuff like that. It's mostly older people, so having some younger company there would definitely be nice. And I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking that. I have talked to a couple of people that are, say 10 years older than me that are saying the exact same things and are saying, oh, I'm shocked that there's someone as young as you that has a plot on their own. And I think that everybody would be better off if we just took a little bit time offline, turn the stream off, shut the analyticals off, power off that third monitor. It'll be there when you come back. And if you haven't gone outside yesterday or before today and it's after 6 o'clock, you have to like and subscribe. If it isn't that late yet, then you still have a chance to go out. But you still gotta like the video. Sorry. It's the condition for making it this long. Have a good night.